One of the most well-known episodes of the Yokai Watch anime is where Robonyan meets Robonyan. And Robonyan is really cool. He's a nice Terminator reference because everybody loves one of those. And overall, he's just a super cool guy. That is until B3NK1 shows up and absolutely turns him into a down bad, quite a weird mess. But we still love him all the same. Robonyan is an A-rank tank yokai of the Tough tribe. This is the first time we're actually covering a just outright tank yokai, because tank Enma doesn't really count. He has a base HP stat of 424, a base strength stat of 191, a base spirit stat of 112, a base defense stat of 213, and is of the normal speed tier. His skill is Choco Factory. Every 30 seconds, as long as you don't have an item in your inventory, he will create a Choco Bar and put it there so that way you can heal yourself. If you use your getaway plush and then just don't die, you can constantly heal yourself back up, so it's at least not useless. However, most of the time, you're not really going to be taking advantage of it, and Choco Bars don't really heal that much HP anyway. His basic attack is Rocket Punch. Rocket Punch has a base 70 power and has 2 seconds of cooldown. Now, 2 seconds of cooldown is a really long time, and so you would normally think, okay, this guy's just kind of mid, because his basic attack really just kind of sucks, because why would I use it if it has 70 base power if it's got 2 seconds of cooldown? Well, that's where we're going to talk about the equipment first. That's where the Golden Claw Soul comes in. This removes the A button cooldown entirely. Now, this does not shorten the animation, so it's not good for a character like Emperor Usapion, but for these 2-second cooldown basic attacks that Robonyan Kabu King has, it's incredibly good because it also gives a lot of soul meter. I don't remember how much exactly, but it's pretty nice because it does give more soul meter than something like Emperor Usapion's attack has, and it specifically gives 20 soul meter charge, which is really useful because this ultimate needs 600 charge, and since he's firing off 20, he only needs to hit his basic attack 30 times, and then he has his ultimate. So, not too bad since he can do it incredibly quickly in less than a minute. His first learnable move is Guard. When you press this button, it will reduce the damage you receive as long as you keep it up. It also gets the foe's attention, so that's pretty neat. It's kind of okay. There are better variations to have of Guard, but if you just kind of have it on your character, reducing the damage received, especially since Robonyan is a tank character and wants to tank attacks, it's pretty useful. His second learnable move is Mirror Guard. This reduces and reflects the damage back to the enemy, and also gets foes' attention. Now, I don't know if it reduces less than Guard, but being able to reflect damage back at least lets you deal a little bit of damage while you're doing it, even if it's very pathetic in terms of damage. Any extra damage is pretty nice, so might as well have it. His third learnable move is Shield. Shield reduces the incoming damage by 60% for 2 seconds for all allies in the circle. For all allies. That's pretty cool. It's just, why would you run it when you can run his fourth learnable move, Ultra Force Field? Ultra Force Field makes nearby allies become invincible for 2 seconds. Shield has 7 seconds of cooldown, meanwhile Ultra Force Field has 10. Reducing ally damage by 60% for something like Arachneval does not do anything because they still die, and since damage can only be at lowest 1, they still take damage. However, Ultra Force Field can let you completely negate damage. So it's more useful in scenarios such as the the Red Paws and Golden Claw's ultimate, so I much prefer to have Ultra Force Field. For equipment, I am running the Vampiric Fangs. This gives a decent amount of attack, a lot of HP, and some extra defense, so that way I am incredibly tanky and can even heal myself a little bit. Robonyan specifically does not really want to do damage. He does just want to kind of tank attack so that way the allies don't. However, you can also run a bauble, such as the Yokai Cat Bauble, which heals you while you're guarding. You get less damage, but you get a lot more defense and a lot more HP. So, if that's worth it to you, then I would recommend doing that. However, because I'm playing by myself and I have healers, and I also have Katsu-chan, who's also going to be buffing my defense, I don't really think it's necessary to have that much extra bulk. However, in some scenarios, I could see it. Then we also have Persevere, and then we got Orkanos. Orkanos I kind of just have because why not? He's freaking Orkanos, he's cool. And if we got a tank DPS character, we might as well have another one. He's got Iron Oni's Will, so he's essentially got 2 getaway plushes, even as a CPU. He's got Mighty Attack and Power of Terror to buff himself and buff his strength and his defense. Now, even though Iron Swing is super slow, it does have a decent amount of base power, so that's pretty neat. Gave him a bauble so that way he's tanky and can still do a little bit of damage, and a Survivor Soul, just so that way he can tank as much as he possibly can. So with all that said, why don't we go ahead and check out the first of our 4 cat robot yokai, because yeah, there's 4 of these things. So first up, let's start with Red Paws, because Red Paws doesn't have quite as much HP as Golden Claws, and since I'm not a DPS character, I would much rather show off the ability to save my allies, rather than just sitting here forever doing the same fight. So, I honestly really like the Robonyan characters. I think that their basic attack with the Golden Claw Soul is super fun to play with, and being able to buff myself is super good. I did realize I just forgot to mention his Sultimate. His Sultimate is hang on, let me pull it up. It's Guard Mode. It greatly increases his defense by 350% for 30 seconds and needs 600 charge in order to activate. Pretty good. Being able to buff your defense is super useful when you're a tank yokai, because as you can see, we can deal some pretty nice damage. I really do like the Sultimate being a nice buff, because that's going to be super useful when I'm fighting this boss, because the Sultimate kind of hurts if I don't dodge it, and since I don't have actual dodge moves, I just have a shield and Ultra Force Field. Yeah, kind of need to be able to tank just a little bit. So we're going to just keep firing, make sure that we can dodge, because what's better than taking little damage from attacks? Taking no damage by dodging them. But even if I do take attacks, as you can see, I'm able to just heal myself up really well. So we're going to do this, do a little bit of this, take a little bit of damage, oh no. Gonna activate this just for a little bit of aggro, and now we're going to attack, and then buff myself, because it's a self buff only. Get this just so that way he attacks me, and with a little bit of this, we're going to do this, and barely take any damage. Now, Robonyan himself is actually weak to fire, so he's actually not that good of a tank for this boss, since you can, you take a little bit of damage, but when you make yourself invincible, it really doesn't matter. And we could just heal ourselves back up and take 35. So, Red Paws and Swirlius Omai in their golden forms, not the best for this character, because fire hurts when you get hit by it, so kind of an unfortunate scenario for Robonyan, but whatever, we'll make it work. So, he's not really able to hurt me that much. Like, we're going to do this just to bring him back over here. The thing with AI in this game is it's kind of inconsistent. However, just every now and then, just pressing Mirror Guard does seem to do a pretty good job at keeping yourself alive. So, I don't even know if any of that damage was, like, reflected to him. Oh, it is. But as you can see, it's very little. 33 damage. That's, like, really pathetic. 46 right there. So I don't know if it was just, like, Katsu-chan that did that little extra bit of damage, but whatever. So we're going to Sultimate for invincibility frames and for some extra defense. Do this. Make sure that we hit a little Mirror Guard. And now, like, we're barely taking any damage. 16. Like, are you kidding me? And I'm able to just heal myself right back up. Pretty nice. Love it. Now we're just going to keep doing this over and over. Oh no, we take a little bit of damage. Oh no, that sucks, doesn't it? Make him invincible so he doesn't take any damage. And there, look at that. He even dodged the fire, except he didn't dodge it the second time, but it's whatever. Get out of here because it's going to hurt if I get hit by that. And I'm going to save my Sultimate for when he does his giant thing, just so that way I can make sure that I live it in case I need to heal my allies. But I'm also going to try my best to make sure that I don't take any sort of damage and I can heal them. Not heal them, just keep them alive, because that's really what I need to do as a tank. I'm not, like, the greatest DPS, but as long as I stay alive and can heal my allies if something goes wrong, res them, we'll do pretty fine. So yeah, as you can see, we're going to do this whole thing. If they're going to heal each other, that would be nice. So we should be fine for now. Go over here. Go over here. Go over here. They take damage, so we're going to make them invincible. Go over here. Go over here. And go over here. Make it myself invincible. guard mode. And as you can see, Orkonos actually managed to survive pretty easily, so that's pretty awesome. And now I can just res my allies, and now we're back in it, so you'll love to see it. The invincibility frame's super nice. Quick guard right there. The thing with the guard is, like, you would think you could do, like, a little perfect shield type thing. Like, if you play Smash Bros. Or maybe, like, a parry. Any sort of fighting game, you do that. You would think you could do that. However, it does have a little bit of a delay so when you press the button. So, you can't always do that. But if it's, like, a slower move, you can, like, perfect shield it. Which is pretty fun to do. So, anyways, we're just going to buff myself and then hit him with a Nightmare Beat for just a little extra bit of damage. Let's switch to Katsu-chan for a little bit of buffing, because buffs are always appreciated. And then we're going to get rid of this little Eminem. Oh no, we're taking a little bit of damage. Let's see if I can guard the fire, just to see how much damage I take. So we're going to take that. We're going to take a little bit of this. Nope, we're going to do Disco Inferno. I mean, I guess I can see here. But I mean, I did just get a buff from Katsu-chan, so that's very little damage, in all honesty. Barely anything, so that's pretty fun. Get over here, guys. Oh, no. Yeah, with Katsu-chan buffs, we barely take any damage. So the thing with Ultra Force Field is that it does kind of have a little bit of a delay when it fires. So sometimes, even though you will, like, be in the field, it won't have, like, activated the invincibility, so that's the only thing to look out for. You do have to kind of be on top of your game. It's not as good as reactionary, like, moves would be, but I mean, Ultra Force Field can still, like, save your butt sometimes. And as you can see, we won with, like, no trouble at all. Robonyan, I think he's, like, very fun. However, I do think he's, like, the worst of the four, just because being a pure tank isn't really that good in this game. But he's still not bad. He's, like, it's very difficult for the boss to even kill this guy. So while I think Robonyan is really good, what's better than just standard colors and stuff like that? Well, obviously, it would be a golden version. And that's why we have Goldenyan. Goldenyan is an S-rank tank yokai of the Tough tribe. So every single yokai here is going to be a tank. And even though they're classed as the tank class, they're essentially just like bulky DPS characters. Tanks essentially are just bulky DPSs most of the time. He has a base HP stat of 451, a base strength stat of 196, a base spirit stat of 101, a base defense stat of 232, and is also of the normal speed tier, and also has the Choco Factory skill. He also has Rocket Punch as his basic attack, and he's essentially just Robonyan, but with better stats, and with one changed move. Instead of, well, actually, he has two changed moves. Instead of regular guard, he has Charged Rocket. Actually, he has three moves. I just realized he has Iron Guard specifically. Charged Rocket has 80 base power, 201 charged, has 5 seconds of cooldown all the time, and always gives 20 soul meter. It also is his only way to stun the enemy for a chance time, so it's pretty useful to have. However, if you have other allies that can do that, you can safely run with not using it, since it's only 10 more than his standard basic attack, so you can just use that. Even if it's charged, you can just get more DPS by just firing his rocket punches. He also has multi-boost in Spirit. This always buffs his attack by 10%, 70% defense, 8% movement speed, and 20% move meter speed. The move meter speed is pretty useless since with the Golden Claw Soul, he always has no cooldown on his basic attack, but it's useful for allies, which you can make it an AoE by just charging it. Now, Iron Guard is actually just a more effective version of regular Guard. However, I do still think that it's better to just not have it. However, it does greatly reduce damage taken, so if you do want to just be invincible, it's a pretty good move to have. And since Goldenyan doesn't really have any sort of dodge moves, it's still pretty nice to have. However, Ultra Force Field I do think is, like, good enough. However, if you're running a more DPS-focused Goldenyan, like I usually do, it can be nice. Unless you're running, like, Oni Smasher Sky, in which case I don't think you're tanky enough to do that anymore. But it's still pretty nice. His ultimate is Gold Thundper. Gold Thundper is an AoE buffing move that buffs ally attack by 15%, defense by 105%, movement speed by 12%, and move meter speed by 30% for 20 seconds, and it only needs 500 charge in order to activate. So, you'll have to hit, what, 25 times? For a, like, pretty great support character that's also able to do some pretty nice DPS, Moonshadow is what I like to recommend. It debuffs the enemy's defense and gives him a lot of strength. So he's able to do some pretty nice damage while also letting allies not only deal more damage, but also being able to buff them every now and then. So he's a great support character that's also a DPS. Imagine Emperor Usapion, but instead of the overpowered crit DPS, he's got more support focused. So I mean, not as good, but if you got like 3 Emperors, a Goldenyan in there would actually be pretty nice. We still got the same team, also has like crit supports here, and then Orkanos just because why not? So let's go see what the Golden Cat is able to do. And fun fact, in one episode of the anime, Whisper goes to an alternate reality where Katie has the watch, and Katie's partners are Batinyan, Shadow Venoct, and Goldenyan. So we're going to fight the Shogun King. Now the Shogun King is pretty difficult, however Goldenyan is actually one of the best characters you can bring in order to stop this boss from being a pain. That's because not only are we able to buff all of our allies' stats with this in-spirit boost, as you can see, even though I'm very much so not a tank with my equipment, I'm still able to tank pretty well as long as I can get healed every now and then. But we're also really fast, and we're also able to pretty easily dish out some nice damage. So we're able to make everyone invincible, just because. We're not able to make Orkanos invincible, but because of all the buffs we're able to give him, he's still able to tank pretty decently well, and we'll be able to save those getaway plushes for a time where we actually need it. So we're going to make Persevere invincible for the next attack, except didn't really matter, but that's kind of whatever. So I'm actually going to save all of my buffs for when I need to give myself something. So I'm actually going to target Orkanos to give him a nice buff, just so that way he doesn't die before the CPUs heal him, so that way his getaway plush and survivor soul don't get put to waste. So we're able to pretty easily do some nice DPS. Going to get over here to the circle. Gonna make sure that all of my allies are healed, mainly him. Gonna make sure that we're all good. And then Ultra Force Field and take 0 damage. Now I'm going to buff everybody, hit a ginormous Nightmare Beat, and as you can see, 800 damage, not too bad, not too shabby. So now I'm going to buff everybody again, and Katsu-chan's going to buff everybody, and that Nightmare Beat, that Mighty Attack is going to do 1400 on a tank character. Can you see why Goldenyan's really good? With all of this support we have, we're able to just humiliate this guy and also barely take any sort of damage at all. Make myself invincible, and as you can see, we just can win very easily. Now, Orkanos is pretty easily hitting the cap for attack buffs with my Sultimate, my multi-in-spirit boost, and my support from Katsu-chan, and his own buffs. Pretty easily able to hit the 100% attack buffs, but, you know, it's still pretty fun. So anyways, now that we've buffed everybody, we're going to spam this, and we're going to stop him from powering up with his Lost Souls. Now, the main reason that Goldenyan is so good is because he's able to stop these things before they're even at the swords, which is what a lot of physical DPSs just cannot do. Fun fact, in a previous version of the ++ mod, Goldenyan had the same crit-based skill that Emperor Usapion has, where it's crit damage or crit rate based on distance. They have since removed that, and you can probably see why, because he really doesn't even need it. However, he would be even better if he did. So, kind of sad that they took away that buff, because that was actually, like, really cool to have, but whatever. So we're able to just keep up our damage like nothing, like no tomorrow. Pretty easily able to run out of the way, make sure that everybody's good. And as you can see, yeah, 0 damage. And now we just keep attacking over and over again. And as you can see, we're not even, like, struggling at all. I mean, Orkanos is, like, kind of taking damage, but remember, he's got, like, 3 lives before he even starts reviving, and it only gets more difficult to revive him after the first time he's been revived, so really, Orkanos is not at risk of dying at all, so not very difficult. Oh no, we take 158. That's crazy, guys. So we're going to make Persevere invincible just because, and as you can see, yeah, Ultra Force Field 2 seconds is not the longest time ever, but thankfully, Mighty Attack is able to pretty easily get us a W. So we're going to Nightmare Beat, just because I want to. Now we're going to go try to get this Great Orb for Orkanos just because I think it'd be funny. And there we go. Alright, so now Katsu-chan, we're going to get buffs with everybody. And yeah, so we got Ultra Force Field at the ready, just so that way once the moon comes, we don't have to worry about potentially missing. because why would I worry about potentially missing? So we're going to get everybody close, do invincible, and there we go. Yeah, Goldenyan is super good. Very nice to play this character, and just buff your allies to oblivion. So with a little bit of this, we're going to get another buff. Make sure that Orkanos gets that buff. Make sure that Orkanos gets this buff as well, just so that way whenever he does attack the enemy, he does a pretty nice amount of damage. And as you can see, in just a couple of seconds, Goldenyan's able to do over 1,000 damage because of this super nice soul. The Golden Claw soul is definitely one of the best souls and makes so many more characters viable. Mainly just like a ton of fun characters like Goldenyan and Kabuking. I really like these characters. I think they're some of the more fun ones to play. So I really like bulky characters that also can do great damage. And since Goldenyan can also support, like, he's essentially just like the perfect character for me. I love him so much. He's such a fun guy to play. So with this, I want to try to make sure that I can take an attack because, yeah, as you can see, 136 on a crit. That's it. 136 damage. On a critical hit, when I'm not even, like, running a defensive equip. I'm running a full offensive set. And we only take 136 from a critical hit on his giant attack. Yeah, Goldenyan's really good. A lot of that is some buff from Katsu-chan, but when I'm buffing all of my allies, I was making Orkanos do some pretty wacky numbers for, like, a very much so not offensive built Orkanos, mainly just like a defensive support. And he still did pretty good. So, what if we go from a tank to a support tank DPS? What about a full DPS character? What does that look like? Canonically, Robonyan is upgraded to Robonyan F, but in all honesty, it's not really that big of an upgrade in this game. Robonyan F is an A-rank tank yokai of the Tough Tribe. He has a base HP stat of, I actually gotta pull it up for this, hang on. He has a base HP stat of 408, a base strength stat of 225, a base 94 spirit, a base 213, and is of the normal speed tier. His skill is Polarity. This gives him all stats up when his soul meter is full. Now, it's pretty easy to get to max soul meter, and his ultimate isn't really that good. So essentially, once you get this, you have a permanent 7.5% attack, 52.5% defense, 6% movement speed, and 15% move meter speed once you hit your max ultimate. Now, why do I say that his ultimate isn't that good? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. His ultimate is Farewell Blast. Farewell Blast has 800 base power, is an AoE, and only requires 600 charge. The problem? It kills you. And hits all of your allies as well. So, pretty difficult to run this move. However, if you are in great form, and you also have maybe just like a crap ton of defenses, it actually will not kill you. This is something that I mentioned in the Bomblewalk character guide, if you watched that. Essentially, you can get so tanky that your own self-destruct isn't even capable of killing you, and so it just becomes a really strong move. I am not going to take advantage of that, however, because I don't really feel like it. And Bomblewalk, I think, is just way funnier when he does it. However, Polarity is still pretty nice, mainly for the extra defense. Because the maximum defense buff is like, what, 700%? All that extra defense is pretty useful to have. Now, he does have a worse moveset than Goldenyan. However, he's still pretty good. He's got Mirror Guard, he's got the shield instead of, what's it called, Ultra Force Field, so not as good. However, I do think that it might not be like an AoE. I mean, like an AoE, it's just like hits everybody, just regardless. So if that's the case, it's fine as a replacement option, but I'd rather have Ultra Force Field. And then Master Stance. Master Stance is just multi-in-spirit boost, like the exact same cooldown and everything, except it cannot become an AoE to buff your allies. So, yeah, essentially Robonyan F is just worse Goldenyan in like most regards, including the ultimate. However, he's still pretty good if you happen to have him, but it's not that much more difficult to get Goldenyan. Same kits and all, so let's go ahead and just get started with this guy. The blue and the white, because, you know what? What if I just feel like busting? Alright, so now we've got Swirls Gold. Swirls Gold is, kind of whatever. I don't really care about him, so, Robonyan F is not quite as good as the other, like, is a Goldenyan. He's not even really the same as Robonyan regular, but essentially they're basically the same character. So, I mean, Robonyan F is slightly better because he's just got more, like, damage, but That's kind of, who really cares? Just run Goldenyan. But if you do want to play Robonyan F because, I don't know, you just feel like it, maybe you want to, like, explode on your enemies, he can do a pretty good job at that. Because he's able to buff himself, and if you have getaway plushes, it's not really that big a deal that you take, like, a ton of damage, because you'll just use your getaway plush, and then you'll be healed up, and then you could do it again. Having double the base power of Mighty Attack is pretty funny. So, with this ginormous buff, we're able to pretty easily do some nice DPS. Not the craziest, but eh. Oh yeah, I'm also running a Moon Shadow on him, just like I was with Goldenyan. Always running the Golden Claw's Soul because it's just really good. We can do this, which doesn't work as well since I'm still running Master Stance, but since I'm much more evasive than the CPUs are, it's not really the biggest deal. But as you can see, we now have my giant buffs from all of my stuff. As you can see, 184, do a little bit of this, do a Mirror Guard, and then let him hit me for 152. Not the worst ever. Definitely could take a lot more. 60 on that, not too bad. With the Mirror Guard, it's pretty nice since he doesn't have any sort of evasion move, and it's not like he has anything else he'd rather run, so. I'm not sure if it does the exact amount of damage that the enemy does to you, which it would be really funny if it did, because then, if you could, like, I don't know, make yourself, like, have, like, no defense, and you ran Mirror Guard, and you could make the enemy, like, do, I don't know, 700 damage to themselves, it would be pretty funny. However, there's not really a scenario where you can do that since it's, you know, reducing their damage, and there's not really a way to, like, buff enemies, and since most enemies just don't really hit that hard, it's not the biggest deal that you can make them deal more damage to you just to directly deal it back to them, and it's better to just have, like, a better DPS, so it's more of just like a, hey, wouldn't it be funny if, and then you don't actually do it, because, like, why would you? That's kind of not really anything to say. We kind of just, like, go back and forth every now and then. I will explode at the end of this fight. Oh, no, as you can see, I took 3 hits. That's crazy. As you can see, he's not really that tanky, not nearly as, like, able to dodge as Goldenyan, because, Ultra Force Field's just, like, a lot better. I'll do this just in case he hits me, in case I, like, I don't know, mess up or something. Only being able to buff myself isn't nearly as versatile as being able to buff everybody, so that does kind of suck. Also, the lack of buffs that we're getting from the Sultimate, even though my Sultimate is, like, pretty good, it's just, like, why would you not run the, whatchamacallit? Why would you not run Goldenyan's, which is buffing everybody? But I really just exploded because I wanted to stun him. I didn't think he was that close to dying. So he kind of just won, just out of nowhere from my perspective. He's fine. There is, like, a funny sort of setup you can do with the, I think it's like the Water Dragon Blade or something like that. It's the thing Azure put in the community meme builds. Yeah, damage per mission with the Water Dragon Blade and the Shogun Soul. You start with the Sultimate, get like 50% Sultimate damage, get a nice ton of stats, and presumably give yourself a couple of talismans, use them, and then use your Sultimate, and then you're just dead. And then you've done, like, I don't know, like 5, maybe like 3,000 damage. Great contribution, Robonyan F. So the ++ mod actually adds an additional Robonyan form. That form being Starinyan. Starinyan is obtained, I'm pretty sure it's from the Robonyan 3000 mission. I would be very surprised if it wasn't. I mean, it makes sense. Fight the evil Robonyan big boss, and you get the new Robonyan form. Would make a lot of sense. There it is. Starinyan is an S-rank tank yokai of the Duff tribe. This is actually an OC character from someone by the name of Underscore. So, pretty cool. I do like Starinyan's design. It's very cool. It reminds me of Shobonyan, and I mean, I'm pretty sure it's actually just like the same basic pose as Shobonyan, but you know, the stars and stuff, I really like it. It's pretty neat. Starinyan is actually you know how Robonyan F is an upgraded version of Robonyan? Well, Starinyan is an upgraded version of Goldenyan, designed to drum up excitement and cheer, and is a superstar of the future. It's pretty neat. I like it. Has a base HP stat of 451, base strength stat of 210, base 101 spirit, base 232 defense, and is of the normal speed tier. His skill is Stars Chip++. This gives you a stat boost the more foes that are targeting you. Let me pull up the spreadsheet and see how much of a buff it actually is per enemy, because, you know, it's not the biggest deal when it's one enemy, but if you're getting, like, targeted by tons of enemies, it's kind of a lot. So it's 3.5% attack, 2.45% defense, 2.8% speed, and 7% move meter speed per enemy targeting you. So if you're getting hit by, like, 3 enemies, that's quite a lot of stats just from, like, existing and having aggro. His basic attack is Proto Punch. This is just a renamed version of Rocket Punch, so no difference there. A lot of his moves are just, like, renamed versions, like Platinum Guard is just Mirror Guard, and Cosmic Shot is just the Robonyan, the Rocket Punch, the Charge Shot Punch that Goldenyan has. However, he does have 2 unique moves. His first one is Cat Cast Call. This boosts all ally stats for a bit, while drawing enemy attention, has 50 base power, and has a cooldown of, I think it's only like 10 seconds. Hang on, I have to pull it up again. It only has 30 seconds of cooldown, only. It gives 20 soul meter as well. And then his other learnable move is Stardom Swipe. It has a 15-second cooldown, and decreases all foe stats by 10% for 15 seconds. Pretty good to be able to debuff your enemies. But I do like the Cat Cast Call. Buffing your allies while also getting aggro is a pretty powerful combination. And so in all honesty, I don't really need Cosmic Shot, but I am going to keep it because I'm going to try to change up the moves a little bit. Instead of the Golden Claw Soul, we're going to run the Cicada Soul. So that way I can buff Cat Cast Call. And mainly because Showstopper is a really good ultimate. It recovers all HP and greatly buffs your stats and heals you. So, you know, Hino's All ultimate, how it's like super broken. Same thing with Starinyan. Starinyan's essentially just Hino's All but physical. That doesn't have the same sort of like stunning capabilities. For equipment, I am running the Venoct Gauntlet. This gives me a decent amount of strength, gives me 70 defense, and also makes my ultimate charge 50% faster. And since my ultimate normally has 300 charge when needed, it only needs 150 charge. That means I have to hit my basic attack a whopping 8 times. How difficult, isn't it? Not to mention my other moves, which also give soul meter, so even less basic hits. It's pretty crazy. Same team, so why don't we just see what the 4th and newest version of Goldenyan and Robonyan, the Robo family, let's see what this one is able to do. Back at it again at Shogun King, and we're going to just do some pretty crazy numbers. So we're able to do this, do a Rocket Punch, do another Rocket Punch, do Cat Cast Call, and as you can see, we don't even need to worry about having the, the Golden Claw Soul, because as I build up my moves and stats and all that, I'm going to be able to buff myself, heal myself, and now we have such a little cooldown on all of our moves that it's essentially the same thing to where if I had the Golden Claw Soul, except now it's also affecting my other moves, so we're going to be able to buff my allies more, stuff like that, get my ultimate, heal myself back up, and just rinse and repeat. So, pretty fun character to be able to do all of this. And we're also able to increase my AoE, but, not my AoE, increase my aggro. And as you can see, 74, yeah, 74 damage. I'd be able to do more damage if I had the, what's it called? The Hammer of Despair? I don't know. There's the Hell Hammer? I don't know. There's some sort of hammer that also has 50% soul meter. There's also a, like, bauble type thing for Nyans. I think it's called, like, the Nyan Believable. It also, oh no, I took damage. Only 174. It also has 50% soul meter, but it also has, like, bauble stats. So, that's also a super good one to run for, Starinyan, since it gives, like, a lot of, like, stats and bulk and stuff. However, it's not the biggest deal that I don't have it right here, because, you know, Starinyan's able to still put in work, even regardless without it. And actually, I don't even know how much stats it does give, but if it gave more strength, then it would kind of be a little bit of a big deal, but we're still able to really easily just loop moves over and over again. So as you can see, even though we do have, like, no, what's it called, Golden Claw Soul, we're able to really easily just loop attacks over and over again, just so that way it feels like we have the Golden Claw Soul, not quite to the same extent, but we're able to spam our other moves, which might not do as much damage, but we're still able to really easily just buff ourselves, heal ourselves, get the enemy's attention, stuff like that. Yeah, see, like, even though I have his attention, he's really just rarely targeting me. So we're going to keep this up, just so that way, once the enemies attack, we're going to be able to keep up our aggro and stuff like that. Get some nice buffs every now and then, every time one targets us. So that's pretty cool. If there's ever two of them on screen, well, I feel like we'll probably just get slightly extra stats. So that's pretty neat. Not the biggest deal, but if it does happen, it's pretty cool. So, yeah. Starinyan is pretty good at DPS. Doesn't feel quite as impactful as Goldenyan because, as you can see, Goldenyan wouldn't let that crap happen, but it's kind of whatever. So we're going to buff ally stats and then buff myself. So the buffing ally stats only occurs for nearby allies, since it's got the, you know, AoE type buff animation. But yeah, as you can see, able to really easily just force him to stop attacking them, just so that way they can get a little bit of a breather. And it's pretty nice, pretty neat to be able to do this. Do this, do a little bit of this, just to get some attention. Do a nice heal, just so that way they don't have to worry about healing me, because I'm the player. And as you can see, there goes one of Orkanos' skill procs, and there he goes down. So, kind of a big deal. Oh, I got hit twice, that doesn't even feel right. Whatever. So Katsu-chan goes down, but as you can see, we're able to just do this. Oh no, it only happens when I fully use it. Whatever, not a big deal. So we're going to keep this up. Now we're going to use my Ultimate just to buff myself and heal myself, get my allies down, and then get, never mind, I guess Katsu-chan's just dead. How sad. Whatever. So we're going to try to not die. We managed to succeed. Let's get Orkanos, fire his Ultimate. Do this. Barely missed the timing on that. Kind of a shame. I would probably feel like I had to fully charge the stun in order to get it for the chance time. Not really the biggest deal that I missed it, but is still kind of a shame because, you know, more stats would have been really funny. So we're going to Ultimate for a nice buff for myself. Since I'm not buffing Orkanos, it doesn't feel that like as impactful, but, you know, still pretty cool. Get some nice buffs every now and then. Make sure that we get this for a little bit of extra base power. 10% extra base power is, like, kind of a big deal at times. Especially with, like, this. Getting one of these buffs. Buff my allies. I don't even know if it went through, but let's try to make sure that we don't let another one go by. We did, but whatever. I don't really care. So, oh no, he did 84 damage. 84, guys. So we're going to buff Orkanos, and then hopefully, if you wouldn't run in, that would be great, but whatever. So we're going to keep this up as much as we can. Get a buff for him. Hopefully, we'll be able to get my Ultimate really quickly. Oh no, we're taking damage. So we're just going to try to make sure that I can stay out of harm's way, just because being able to dodge and then heal myself all the way back up to full is really useful. So we're going to stay back here. Going to try to wait for a full charge. Miss it. Oh no, what a shame. Okay, that's fair. Whatever. Whatever, it'll be fine. So, Cat Cast Call apparently just does not stun and just stopped him from doing that. I still have both of my getaway plushes, however, I'm literally one tick away from my Ultimate. Would be really nice if I had my Ultimate, but if I don't, it's kind of whatever. We have enough buffs and stuff to where his normal moves just won't really be the biggest deal. So, with this huge power, we'll just dodge this. And, yeah. Just keep this up. Do some attacks every now and then. Do some of this, and I feel like he's really close to flying away. Oh, no, he's not going to fly away. He's just going to spam. Oh, no. Oh no, he's going to spam. What a shame. He's going to keep spamming. So we're just going to keep up combo. Just from far away. And there he goes. So now we're going to buff myself and try to target one of them, but I don't think I will be able to. So with when I'm by myself, as you can see, it's not as easy to stop him from building up. Yeah, we can't even like stop him. He just still is able to do it really easily, especially with like no crits because I don't have the crit support souls on anymore. Kind of a shame, but not the biggest deal. Since I still have my buff, I am able to stay like way back here. And if I do need to, oh god, how are you hitting me with that Sultimate, bro? Whatever. So we're going to stay end up back here, prepare to dodge with Showstopper, get way back here, do this for more buffs. More buffs is all I can really ask for right now. So just run Shobonyan. Not Shobonyan, Starinyan. My bad. I do think Starinyan is like super fun to play. Not as fun as Goldenyan in my opinion, just because Goldenyan just feels like way safer. Because buffing your allies and stopping them from getting hit by something stupid is always fun to do. So, yeah. Oh no, we did the thing again. Whatever. It's not a big deal. 80 damage. 80 damage from one of the most difficult bosses in the game, by the way. And we're able to pretty easily just, like, solo this. Like, yeah, I am having to, like, make sure that I don't, like, take damage, but that's kind of like with most bosses that you're soloing. If you feel like, oh, I feel like I'm going to take damage, you stop attacking. We're pretty easily able to keep up combo. And with just a little bit of the Cicada Soul stuff, we're able to pretty easily just loop moves over and over again. And I think it's pretty fun. So we're just going to Sultimate, just to dodge really easily. Now we're going to get a full charge. And there we go. So Starinyan, not as easy as a win as Goldenyan, but Starinyan's definitely still like pretty good. And if you're just playing by yourself and your allies are just kind of doing whatever, Starinyan's a really safe option because as long as you're not like bad, you're pretty easily able to just like live through most things. It's pretty fun. So now that we've run through all 4 of the cat yokai, why don't we just put them all on one team and see what happens? So I will play as Goldenyan since I think Goldenyan is the best one for me to play in my opinion. We'll then get Robonyan, and then get Robonyan F, and we keep Starinyan on the team. So, pretty fun to be able to have 4 robot cats. However, because we do not have any sort of healing, this is the first time I'm going to put on a song for this. Now, in all actuality, let's not put on a song because I don't actually want to start using songs. We're just going to grab a title there, so, and we're just going to put this on Starinyan, sure. Starinyan is not going to spam moves fast enough to be able to take advantage of the Cicada Soul, so I feel like being able to just pretty easily do all that damage will be fine. And what better way to assert our dominance as cat robots by fighting the other 2 cat robots. So let's go ahead and get started fighting the cats, why not? Cat on cat violence. Robonyan 28. Not as difficult as 3000, but the original, you know? We gotta fight the original. So, let's go ahead and just do what we do best and just annihilate the enemy. So as you can see, every now and then we're going to get a heal if, you know, we actually took damage, but yeah, as you can see, now we're starting to take a little bit of damage. Robonyan himself is able to pretty easily just, like, heal himself. Every time he does a basic, he's just going to, like, heal. So, that's pretty fun. If I need to, I can do this. Do some nice self-buffing. Because, yeah. Self-buffing, self-healing, invincibility stances. Very fun to be able to do. So let's do this. Do a little bit of team buffs. And then let's do a little bit more team buffs. Except you ran away from the team buffs. I don't understand what's wrong with you, but whatever. We're pretty easily able to win because, like, as long as we don't, like, die to something stupid. It's very difficult for us to actually, like, take damage. Look at how many robot cats there are. And so much. Oh, look at that. Robonyan F died. Who could have seen that coming? The worst one, in my opinion. Dying like nothing. Who could have seen that coming? So we're going to do this. Do a team buff. Make sure that we don't take damage. Invincible stance, just for funsies, I guess. Buff myself. Oh no. Robonyan F fainted again. Who could have seen that coming? So we're going to invincible stance. just for like a sick dodge, just because. Buff with Starinyan, and yeah, Starinyan's able to pretty easily heal itself. Goldenyan, myself, I'm not able to easily heal myself, but because I'm just like goated like that, it's very difficult for me to actually die, since I also have getaway plushes. We're gonna stand over here. I have to make sure that I can res my, yeah, okay, there you go. Thank you, Persevere. Invincible Stance, just cause. Self-buffing, just cause. I do not think Robonyan F is ready to bust, so kind of a shame, but whatever, what can you do? So, we just gotta make sure that we keep, Robonyan F alive, because, you know, I would like all 4 of these ones to live, but, might not always happen. Self-buffing, Invincible Stance, just so that way I can tank this. Yeah, as you can see, even with all these buffs, he's still able to do, like, 27 damage per hit, which is, like, kind of a lot, but at the same time, kind of not. So we're gonna do this, double heals, Invincible Stance, pretty safely live. Make sure they take those attacks, run away, and now we should be good. Alright, so we're gonna take care of these little Robonyans. Starinyan's going to take damage at some point. My getaway plush barely didn't activate, by the way. Pretty cool. Invincible Stance. Oh no, I took 264. See, that's what I mean when I say it's got a little bit of like a cooldown type thing. Buffs. As much as we can. Oh no, Starinyan died. How shameful. So, Robonyan F definitely sucks when controlled by a CPU, but if you're playing Robonyan yourself, shouldn't be too bad. I'm just trying to make sure that we live, just because I want the, like, quad cat win. Oh no, Robonyan is going to have to carry. Good thing that's kind of, like, what he's good at. So, Invincible Stance, just cuz. So, Robonyan, Goldenyan's alive, and as you can see, we're pretty easily able to just, like, survive, like, no tomorrow. Robonyan is very easily able to just, like, handle things himself with the healing, so yeah, pretty cool. We're gonna take care of these little Robonyans just to get them out of here, and we win very easily. No, not very easily, but if I wasn't trying to keep the other 2 alive, we'd be fine. My 2 favorites, Robonyan and Goldenyan, very fun. They have the same animation, so I just think it's fun. So now, let's go and fight the other one. The other, cat robot from the future. Robonyan 3000. Let's get started, everybody. So, we got cats galore, and we're going to win pretty easily. So, the Tattletale Soul isn't the greatest form of healing, but being able to, like, oh my god, Starinyan, what was that? So much damage, just crazy. We're going to make sure that we don't die to something stupid, like Starinyan is about to, it feels like. I don't know, but go over here, save Starinyan, just cuz. The Tattletale Soul isn't the best for healing because it's healing like 5 HP every now and then, but oh no, I'm the one who would have died first if it weren't for the getaway plush. So we're going to buff everybody, and now just keep attacking. So we're already here at the phase where we need to get rid of the little robos. Just going to Invincible Stance because I thought I was going to die, but apparently not. So we're going to Robot Cat Violence, always. Give a self buff, just because. Get out of the way. Get myself a Choco Bar and use it so that way I can heal. Look at that. Look at that. Taking advantage of the character's skill sets. Invincible Stance. And there we go. Perfectly fine. So now we're going to just keep attacking. He's going to Dark Top, which is bad, because that's going to shred through all 3 of them. Pretty bad. Not invincible, Gold Thumper. And now we need to make sure that Robonyan lives, because Robonyan's like the best one. So, able to pretty easily heal myself, which is fun. Invincible Stance. Now I need to make sure I get my brother in. Get over here, just to dodge. And with that, another Dark Top. Are you kidding me? Get over here. make sure that Robonyan, he still took it, because, of course. Whatever. Okay, I need help. Goldenyan. I mean, Robonyan. So we're going to do this, do a nice self-heal, and now we're just going to live, because why would I die? I'm going to win, because, you know, Robonyan, self-sustainability, pretty good. Come on. Alright. So, what's-his-face is gone. Goldenyan is done for, which kind of sucks, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So, we're still able to get Choco Bars, which is really funny, because the Choco Bars are actually kind of coming in clutch. Who would have seen that coming? Robonyan is pretty good, especially because we're still getting the heals and all that. Take a little bit of less damage, do all this. And as you can see, we're able to easily just, like, survive. Like, it's no problem, as long as we just keep this up. It's going to take a minute, but we are going to get this W, and it's not going to really take that much effort. So let's do this. Heal myself, just because. And as you can see, I am incredibly tanky. 69, like, 105. Like, wow, so difficult, big guy. He's got to summon a little Robonyan Fs, just to deal a little bit of damage to me. Because, these things can kind of hurt if you just, like, let them be. But thankfully, I'm just so dang tanky that it doesn't really matter. So we're going to do this. Oh no, it's coming. Who knows what's going to happen. Got a nice Choco Bar, just because I'm, you know, feeling a little famished. Just getting a little hungry every now and then. So we're just going to keep this up, pretty easily win, because I'm Robonyan. Like, what, you think I'm going to lose? I'm going to keep this Choco Bar in my inventory as an after-battle snack. Just because, just to prove that I don't even need it to win right now. So, the heals are very nice, very useful. Now, Robonyan doesn't just do, like, the craziest damage, but that's also because I am keeping a self-sustainability build, because, like, I mean, it's working. If running this boss without healers is definitely a task that is possible, but you're not really going to enjoy it. So, yeah, it's still a pretty difficult boss, in my opinion. It'd be funny if I kept Robonyan F alive and used him and just exploded. But you know what? I kind of like winning. So I'm just going to pick regular Robonyan. We're going to keep going. So, yeah. Really fun just to do this over and over. We're going to make sure that we dodge the Dark Top, except we don't. Like, as you can see, all of his moves. And it still wasn't even enough to tank out Goldenyan. He hadn't even done his ultimate in a while. That's just the power of the tank. So, Robonyan and the Robonyan class of characters, very fun to play. Being able to just, like, spam your moves over and over again, spam your ultimates, super fun to do. Like, as you can see, I'm just attacking so much faster. I don't need an upgrade. I'm going to buff myself, and now I'm going to have a snack. So, definitely get yourself these Robonyans. You can find QR codes, like, online for, like, all three of them. And then Starinyan, you just gotta fight, like, Robo 3000. Not that big a deal. So yeah, very fun. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed the Robonyan showcases, because, like, these are some really fun characters to play. They're also, like, super good. Every single one of these characters, even Robonyan F, the pretty mid one, I still think they're all, like, really good. Like, Starinyan is very, like, self-sustainable as long as you've got, like, a little bit of, like, good equips, because that ultimate is just, like, broken. Goldenyan is, like, the ultimate support character, aside from, like, Danchan, because, like, the buff with the multi-in-spirit boost, being a tank, being a great DPS, and this ultimate, very strong character. Robonyan, if you run him right, he just won't die. Like, like, as you could see, with Mirror Guard, if I decided to pull that up, and then the Vampiric Fangs, we got hit with the Shred and the Explosion, and it still wasn't even enough to proc my Getaway plush. So, very strong character. And then Robonyan F, if you build him right, he can do some pretty nutty damage for the Robonyan class. So, they're very fun characters to play. So overall, I like them. Also, thank you for 2,000 subscribers. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. I'm recording this on Tuesday, and like a few minutes ago, I hit 2,000. I was like, wow, That's insane. So, look forward to when the plus plus update comes out, because you know I'm gonna make a video on it. And, yeah. With all that said, hope you enjoyed. Let me know who you want to see next. Next is probably going to be a big boss, if the next update isn't just already out at that point. So, look forward to that. And, yeah, hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Bye.